Putting Piercing Fang on the Knight's Greatsword was the best decision I've made since I deleted Twitter off my phone. Slapping this weapon and Ash of War together was so effective that it changed my thoughts on them completely after the completion of the run. Our first ingredient is the Knight's Greatsword. This weapon can be found only via a low drop chance from knights that wield it. I farmed the Lendau Knight just south of the Artist's Shack in Liurnia, so I could get his full armor set along with the weapon. However, if you just want the sword, you can farm the Mausoleum Knight just outside the Black Knife Catacombs. The weapon has a couple of features distinguishing it from its Greatsword peers. The sword has the alternative Greatsword moveset, which, despite completing over 90 runs now, I have never used in-game before. This moveset is highly reminiscent of the Mira Greatsword from Dark Souls 2 and the Hollow Slayer Greatsword from Dark Souls 3. Next is the dex scaling. Other Greatswords, such as the Lordsworn Greatsword, only get a C scaling when keen infused. Perhaps indicated by the dexterous moveset, the Knight's Greatsword gets a B scaling with dexterity while keen. At my level 150 build with 60 vigor, 15 mind, and 30 endurance, I pumped dexterity to 80 and dumped the rest of my stats into strength. But this resulting AR of 685 is not the best we can get here. We can, without changing our vigor, mind, or endurance, do a quality infusion at 50 strength and 49 dex for 704 AR, or just dump 84 points into strength and slap on a heavy infusion for 716 attack rating. I've already used heavy enough on this channel, and to prove that all three of these infusions are viable, I went with keen on my run. Next is the star of the show, Piercing Fang. This Ash has you charge forward with your weapon overhead, thrusting into the enemy for massive amounts of damage, and good poise damage on top of that. This has a surprisingly similar showing to the Ash of War Impaling Thrust, which I made a video on nearly a year ago now. I always knew that Piercing Fang did more damage, 13% more in my case, but I always chose Impaling Thrust over it. That was because of the cheaper cost, faster cast, and the more poise damage per second. These factors always made me brush aside Piercing Fang. However, this Ash has greater range than Impaling Thrust. Much like all that crap I did freshman year, this Ash can follow you pretty far. This consistently hits enemies that stay away from you, and enemies that you want to keep your distance from. It also has much greater control and a wider turning radius than Impaling Thrust. Greater control and greater range means you hit your enemy more consistently. If you miss, you don't do any damage or poise damage. Shocking, I know.